Hey, the drummer get wicked. Hootie hoo. Oh, yeah, you got Zuma Dogg, y'all. Listen to LACityNews.com, and we've got breaking news regarding the 36th congressional election coming up with Janice Hahn versus Craig Huey. And you may have heard about the hip-hop rap video that came out last week featuring Miss Hahn in her most stunning performance yet. And so, again, she feels that there was a federal ethics violation committed through the distribution of this video in the fact that there were two P.O. boxes used at the same address, and one of the P.O. boxes was used in a previous political campaign, and so she filed a complaint. I was contacted by the producer of the video who I'm speaking with. His name's Ladd. And Ladd, where are you calling from tonight?
Zuma, I'm calling you from Arkansas.
This guy's all over the place. The video was produced in Florida. He's from L.A. He hates Janice Hahn, and he likes Andy Kaufman. And so...
And Zuma, you're awesome, man. I've been following you for... Somebody called you to my attention about probably 2 weeks ago. And I've just been following all of your tweets and your blog, and man, you're... I love what you do, man.
Hootie hoo! Bring your video equipment over here now, and we'll make a Zuma Dogg hip-hop video, because I'm Zuma Dogg. My lyrics are the cure. I'm a much doper rapper, the Tupac Shakur. And that's just real heavyweight talk on the realest dope. But let's get back to the... First of all, oh, by the way, speaking of hip-hop, people, I didn't even realize this, that song, Give Us Your Cash, Janice, I call it Give Us Your Cash, Janice, instead of Give Us Your Cash, Bitch. But that's a real, authentic hip-hop rap song that went up the charts. What's the name of the group, and what's the name of the original song to begin with?
Well, the original song was Give Us Shake. I'm so used to thinking of it as a new version now. Originally, it was Shake Your Ass, Bitch, and it was by Splack Pack. And it was back in the 90s when that came out, and it was a three-member group. You had Q-Dog, Uncle Head, and Kid Money. Well, they kind of split up a little bit, broke up. They get back together and do things every once in a while. And I managed to somehow get a hold of Uncle Head and Q-Dog, and they came over, and we put this thing together in a day, and then we edited over two, and you know, we just kind of the rest is history, man.
And the song was featured, the original song, and South Park is a parody.
Right, they did it. They called it "Let's See You Dance, Sucka."
So that's huge. So that means the song is huge to begin with because it made it to South Park, and then that makes it even huger. And so there will be. Do you have any breaking news as far as any additional video or anything?
Well, there's a couple of things we're working on, but I don't want to release any of that yet. But you know, obviously it's a lot of fun to. You know, put out this video, and half the people are like thinking it's racist and awful and horrible and sexist and attacking it like crazy. And of course, Janice is reveling in the attention and not realizing what it's really doing to her.
Yeah, but and one thing I'd like to say, I'd like to give the LA Times credit because Janice ran out there and said the video is racist. I personally, and this is controversial, I don't feel as racist. LA Times was correct in calling it stereotypical. Janice, why is it racist? Just because black rappers were used? Should they have used white rappers? Oh, is it worse because the rappers were black, Janice? What's racist about using black rappers? They created the medium for a political expression for them. And so again, stereotypical, yes. Racist, no. Sexist,
well, it's just
hell yeah.
They thought, yeah, well, you know, they were thinking I was a Republican, and they were thinking that, oh, well, because it's against a Democrat, it's racist.
Okay, well, now let's get it. Here's what's interesting. First, I want you to discuss her allegations as to why it ain't jack squat with the P.O. boxes. But here's the breaking part that we're also going to get to. You have uncovered forensic evidence that you feel may link some hackers that may have been hired or conspired by Janice Hahn, and that information has been turned over to the FBI. We'll get to that.
Right, man.
How's that for a teaser, y'all? But first, talk about the P.O. boxes and how that's just a bunch of nutty crap.
Man, I mean, it was. I actually kind of laid set that out for her so that she would so that she would think that there was something there. And so what happened was me and Rick Marshall. Okay, Rick used to work for Huey as a volunteer on his campaign. I was kind of involved in the 36th district because I had done a video for Maddie Fine, who had run against Jane Harmon. And, I made a crazy viral video for her, which went pretty good, making fun of Jane Harmon, calling her Frau Blucher, and sort of a remake of Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein. So I make this video for Maddie Fine, and I met Rick Marshall because of that. And then Rick was trying to help out Huey, and then Rick was like, this is useless, and he starts talking with me, and he leaves the Huey campaign. And we're sitting there having fun and talking about, this is just, it's stupid. Janice Hahn is going to win no matter what happens because she's, a freaking Democrat, and they've already stacked the cards against everybody else, and it's impossible, right? So I was like, well, you know what? Let's just throw together a super PAC, and we'll make a ton of these videos. We'll start off with one on Janice Hahn since, she's the little toy, the marionette of Jane Harmon, and let's go knock her around a little bit. So we threw it together, and we had a company that could do some of the paperwork for us, and they got us a drop box for us to get our mail and everything.
What kind of paperwork? What kind of paperwork?
Well, you got to fill out your super PAC paperwork, man. You got to file it with the FEC and all that stuff.
Okay.
And and then you got to have a mailbox, out there and Gardena and all that stuff. You got to have a place where it's going to be. And I'm all over the place, so, Rick wanted it to be close by his place. So, we threw it together in Gardena, and we were like, all right, girl, awesome. Now, I knew what was going to happen. She was going to think that we were some crazy Koch brothers types, you know what I'm saying? Like we were getting money from Big Tobacco or something like that. Well,
crazy maybe, y'all. But in the spirit of Andy Kaufman.
Right, exactly. But I figured, you know what? She's probably thinking we are Big Tobacco or we're some evil, horrible Republicans going after her, right? So when the reporters started calling me the first day, I was like, they were like, well, how did you start this? Why did you start this thing? I was like, well, me and a couple of buddies. Well, you want to tell us who those buddies were? Not really, no. And then the second day, and everything is just totally going ape, right? They're calling me up. Well, who is this? Who is this guy? And who is this guy? And I'd be like, oh, well, let me call you back in half an hour. Well, let me see, So I just strung them along for 2 days, right? And then on the third day, I told him, well, it was me and Rick Marshall, and then we had the CPA guy that we hired, and all that stuff, and totally left out the campaign, the campaign consultant guy who could fill out the paperwork for us. And so by the end of it, they were just in a complete tizzy, and now she's filed an FEC complaint, so she had to spend all this time on an attorney.
Yeah. So you're saying that the guy opened up a second mailbox to do his PAC business for this video, and it was in the same place because he already had a mailbox at the other place? Is that it?
Well, no. What we did was we hired a campaign company to do the paperwork, get us a place a drop box for our super PAC and all that stuff. And we're actually thinking of moving it to another location now.
All right, but the main thing is that she's not going to have anything, and it's going to turn out to be egg on her face like all of her policy ever since she's been elected.
Yes, exactly, because she didn't have anything, and so it's just I'm going to have her spinning around like a marionette.
And it doesn't matter anyway, because she just wants to put the allegations out there. But I do feel she's made a terrible miscalculation. And I can't believe LA Weekly feels that this video helps her. Absolutely not. She can go on the radio and bring all the attention to this video by saying, isn't this terrible? Look, I'm being attacked by these mean people of this campaign, and it's just terrible, and vote for me now. But people watch, but here's what happens. LA Times and LA City News and every website that writes about her accusations also post the video. Then people watch the video, and then they hear what the video's about with their gang intervention money, and then they're left with what Janice did, And I think that's going to hurt her tremendously on election day. I think it's already over. But now get to the part that's going to backfire regarding the hackers. You feel that the site was, you know the site was hacked, and take it from there.
Yes, I do. I do, and in fact, I know who did it. At least the weakest member of the pack that hacked it. But specifically, they didn't actually hack it. They just did a denial of service. Here's the thing, man. I've been blogging for a long time. I've also done classified military websites and stuff like that, and so I kind of know my way around. Now, originally, when we were going to do all this stuff, we were doing it, and we wanted to get it done real quick, right? So Rick and those guys in L.A. For me just went ahead and got their own servers and stuff and threw together a quick little WordPress website. And I kind of knew that it was like super vulnerable, so I just figured, you know what, it's probably going to get hit. So let's just make sure we have our logs good and ready. And so sure enough, after about less than 24 hours into it, they started going after it. And in fact, there were some people on the SF gate that were trying to get the big hackers involved, but the big hackers didn't care. So instead, you had all these little weenies going after it. And I think what happened was, look, Janice, whenever somebody says something bad about her in the news, on television, whatever, she does whatever she can to get them to take it down. You know, take it back down, retract it, do this, whatever. She spends all of her time, instead of spending time like, you know, worrying about the city or whatever, she's spending all of her time worrying about how she looks on the internet. And so from what I can tell from my forensics, I believe that there was a little reach out and a request after all of this went down to hey guys, can you please get rid of this thing for me, please? And it may have even gone so far as a couple of what they call tip jars. For those who are listening, they don't know quite what that means, but a tip jar is when, like Zuma Dogg, for instance, is a blogger. I do blogging. I don't have a tip jar on my site, but I know plenty of buddies who do. You know, you just pop a little tip jar into somebody's little blog site and with a little note like, hey, you know, it would be really cool if a whole bunch of little hackers brought down the site for a while. And but we did manage to get the weakest member of the hacker group, got his name, got his address, got his phone number, got all of his websites. We've got, his Twitter account, his LinkedIn account, everything.
And that information is posted on your website. Why don't you I don't want to post that, but
That's
if they
right.
want to see it, if anybody wants to investigate further, give the info to your website.
Sure, it's FilmLadd, FilmLadd.com, and we also posted the DNS trace going all the way from our server down to his, and we figured out which servers he's used to attack our servers. So, it's all right there. If you're a computer forensic analyst, you can go and take a look at it all. It was pretty funny because I was playing with him. I knew he was watching my Twitter feed, right? So the night that all of this was happening, when I finally just got around to going through the logs and figuring out where he was, I was tweeting a bunch of funny stuff and saying hey to everybody. And then before I went to bed, I said to nobody, just, out into the air, I said, by the way, denial of service attacks are illegal. See you in the morning. Good night. And that was my tweet, right?
Yeah.
The next morning, he had deleted his Twitter account.
Oh, my goodness. The worst thing you could do is a sure sign of admission to guilt to the federal authorities. And I'd like to add that you told me already you passed the information on to the FBI and to ICE. And you have information on the other hackers involved, but you weren't able to crack that. But the FBI, with their subpoena power, most likely will be able to very quickly.
Yes. And then after I made the...
Hello, Janice from Zuma Dogg and FilmLadd.com, y'all. Hooty-hoo! Hit the drum and get wicked. West. You got two Andy Kaufman nutballs causing you more problems than your own stupid dumb brain and mouth, you annoying ditz fag.
And I'll tell you what, man, the fun thing is that I even had to start giving the little creep tips, because I said, oh, and by the way, he deleted his account, blah, 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 on the blog. And then he came back on, and I said, oh, well, I guess he's back on because his betters told him, you look like you're guilty, you dumbass.
Yeah. So finally, why do you feel, then I want to post this right away because everybody's going to the blog post already.
Sure.
Why do you feel circumstantially, you feel that this does tie to Hahn, or couldn't it have just been somebody who loves her so much that they just had people do this?
Well, now that could be a possibility. But the real question would be, and I think a bunch of FBI guys crawling around the city council right now would be very interested in this, because if let's say she did hit a donate now button, or one of her cronies hit a donate now button, that's not good.
I might have to show up. I happen to be banned from speaking publicly on TV about this or anything in my First Amendment rights violation, but I could show up at the rotunda on City Hall on Tuesday with the folder and start screaming, hey, FBI, here's campaign violation information on alleged violations by Janice Hahn. FBI, information on Janice Hahn, ethics violations, FBI, and I'll stand there, you guarantee they'll come running, y'all, to hog tie and carry me away, but I'll hand that folder up in the meantime, hooty-hoo! All right, y'all, Ladd, thanks so much for reaching out to Zuma Dogg. It's a match made in heaven. It's hilarious.
Zuma man, you were absolutely awesome. Look, one other thing I want to put out there, maybe Janice was upset because the black rappers that we had in there were making fun of her, and so she thought that they were being racist to her. Maybe she's now a new advocate of anti-racism or whatever. I don't know.
You had to get me in trouble at the last second, y'all. I almost escaped unscathed, y'all, and now you got me in trouble. And I'd like to say that when I went to your website, I saw the picture of Tony Clifton, and then I knew something good and fun and nutty was happening, and it wasn't some big professional political action committee for the Republican Party, and I don't know if you knew it, but Zuma Dogg, in the spirit of Andy Kaufman, absolutely. The day I walked into City Hall, I said, this is the most Andy Kaufman since the day he took everybody for milk and cookies after Carnegie Hall, and that's just the realest dope.
Man, I'll tell you what, Tony and Andy were the best, and I think that you know what, man, if there's fewer corrupt politicians out there, it just means that we'd have other material to mess with.
It's the new Tony and Andy. It's Zuma and Ladd. Go to FilmLadd.com. You'll get the link at LACityNews.com and Janice Hahn. I hope you can stay calm, y'all, because you're about to have another FBI investigation besides the multiple ones already all over City Hall. Have a nice day. All right, bro. It'll be posted soon. I'll talk to you.
All right, man. Bye.